Morning traders, it's Friday and it's NFP today, so expect some volatility going into that release in the afternoon in UK time. And as it's Friday, it tends to be less active for me personally in my trading, as I tend to wind down for the weekend. So the trading disclaimer applies. It's in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, but let's get cracking and jump into the price action. So we're looking on futures, not CFD for this, and so just make an adjustment for the different prices, but the analysis is exactly the same. So we have got on the daily chart yesterday, we found a high of 12,053. We broke the 12,000 handle finally. It took a little while to get there. I had a few attempts over the last few months, and this is the highest price we've now seen since late last year. So we'll see whether or not this is now going to be the time where a retracement happens, or whether it manages to forge out some sort of value area here and defends this zone, which it's had to rally to pretty hard to get there. As far as the 2019 profile is concerned, we are outside of the value area at the 2019 high, which of course was placed yesterday. So not a lot of data up here to go on. And we're just looking to see whether or not it does manage to carve something out up here, or whether it just takes that plummet back towards what would now be a base that you would expect for price to hold, which would be somewhere in that 700, 730 zone. Quite a significant pullback from current levels, but over the next few days or weeks, it wouldn't be unlikely to see that. But at the same time, with the Dax, when it does get on momentum, it's very, very difficult to slow it down. It's like a freight train. Alright, moving on to the hourly chart, we've got these three upsloping low-to-low trend lines of different trajectories. And the second one, well, the first one was taken out a few days back, or a couple of days back. But this one was more recently taken out on the overnight session today. So we're going to have a look to see whether this is the start of a pullback, maybe towards this 930 zone. That's a zone which I've marked out because 930, the level, works out to be this high volume node on this composite profile which I've got over here on the left, which looks very jagged. This composite profile is an accumulation of all of this data from the low of this major swing. Okay, that's what I've taken it from. So it's about a 10-day composite or something like that, maybe a bit less. So that would be an obvious area to look to target. It's kind of acted as resistance here. Zoomed through it, it was defended, and then we've gone on to create a new higher high, confirming this as a swing low, minor swing low. So getting a test of that zone wouldn't be unusual. If it breaks below that, starts to look a little bit unusual, or it looks a little bit ugly. But this whole area has been collecting quite a lot of volume over the last few days, so breaking through all of those little mini high volume nodes might be quite difficult to do. But we'll find out, and more than likely NFP will provide us with a liquidity drain, and then it will just shift through these gears quite quickly before volume starts to return again. So if we take a look at the profiles today, well, certainly for yesterday, this was yesterday's profile. We're currently trading within the value area of yesterday's data. We are below the point of control. We did not take out or tag the value area high from yesterday, which meant that the high from yesterday overall was safe. We're currently trading down towards the value area low, which is very close to this 5-day composite value area high. That's what this profile is here on the right. If we take out the value area low, then you'd imagine that it's probably going to find some support down here. If not there, you've got that 930 level that I talked about on the previous chart. And beyond that, of course, I mean, there's not a lot to catch price action, but it would have to take something significant to break through all of those levels in a day, and it would be quite worrying if it did that. And we've also got to be aware of the fact that this was pretty much the reason why 930 is a zone of interest, and it's because of this. That would be, so if this was yesterday, which is Thursday, that would have been Wednesday's price action. All right. Last thing to just show on here before we go and take a look at some trades from yesterday would be this chart. I shared that in the free Telegram channel. Go and get yourself added into that. The link's in the description below. And you can see that these horizontal lines here would represent previous exposed points of control, which are generally magnetic. We tend to find, as a rule of thumb or behavioural pattern, that on a strong trending rally you'll see lots of points of controls left behind, and on a, if you like, the reverse of a rally, a sell-off, a strong trending sell-off, you'd often see points of control left behind to the upside. But when it reverses and changes around, you find that these are magnetic target spots for price action to come back to, because that was where price accepted value previously. So we'll find out whether those will work. If you like that sort of technique, leave a like on the video, because these techniques on futures data are very, very useful to use. Alright, let's go and take a look at some of the trades from yesterday. Well, before we do that, I mean, just having a look here on this chart, this is FTSE for today, and you can just see just how choppy that is. And for my strategy, which is in this case a trend following momentum based strategy, the enemy of that type of strategy is this sort of price action. Choppy means no momentum, and no momentum means an unhappy Chris. So if we're going to take a look at yesterday, let's have a look at some of the trades that I took. Some good, some not. We took a sell on the Dax. It was the first one, around about 9ish. I think it was in there somewhere, and I'm just going to paste the details in here. There we go. And so it was actually 8:04. I think that's because my server is an hour behind, so that's the server time, but it was actually 9:04 because our clocks have gone forward in the UK. We're now on British Standard Time and not GMT. So that was the trade, and I think that this particular one, because I'm running this on my local computer, is in British Standard Time. So that's actually 9:04, which was in here. I was in sell mode. I took a sell signal. I took this one, not that one, and it turned around, took me out at a stop loss, which was minus 1%, or just under. And at a similar time, it was about actually 20 minutes to half an hour later, it took a sell on the FTSE. So let's just go and run ourselves back here, paste that in here. It took that one, which was a short in this zone again. Choppy price action, not the most interesting PA to really trade, but hey, you can never guarantee what the market's going to do. But that was also a stop loss. So I'm happy taking lots of small losers. That's my strategy. I don't mind doing that because I'm looking for 4-to-1 on my trades. So every time I get a winner, it's going to basically pay for 4 stop losses for me. And I'm happy to do that. It means overall I actually only need to win roughly 20% of my trades to break even, give or take, because of spreads and commissions, etc. But it's around about that. So if I was to get 25% win rate or higher, then I'm profitable. And it's as simple as that. It's just a numbers game for me. I did take another trade on FTSE, and which actually was a break-even trade, and it was this one here. I think it was that guy there. Yeah, it was. And yeah, cutting a long story short, it was break-even. So nothing gained, nothing lost. And then the final trade that I took was a DAX trade, and 9:38 that was. So it looks like it was this first one here. It might have been the second one. In fact, yeah, it was that one there. So we flipped into a buy mode, and I took that signal, which was an entry at 9:57 roughly. Definitely, it tells me there. 9:57, which was in here. And stop loss at 9:41, so I'm risking 16 points. And then my target was 4-to-1, going for 12,016. And we hit the target. So overall, that's the way I like to look at it. And I think that when I was in the trade, I was looking at this section here thinking it's very, very close to me being stopped out at break even here. Very, very close. But it didn't. I managed to hold my nerve. Tests you quite a lot as a trader to see whether you've got the discipline to stick to your plan or not, and in this case I did, and yeah, nice to see it hit a target, so happy days with that. As for today, I have taken 2 trades. I took a short on the DAX, which took me out of break even, a bit frustrating, and so I decided to also close the FTSE trade which I was in, which was another short, excuse me, and that was a small loser. but I just decided to cut out of it. I wasn't really interested in continuing. But the actual DAX trade that I took was this, and let me just get the numbers. There we go. I believe that was the one. So it would have been running off to. Actually, I don't even know if it would have taken out its stop loss here, because no, it would have held. So it would have got in on this sort of cluster of price action down here. It got into profit, which I was using my algorithm today. It flipped me to break even. I actually think it flipped me to break even a little earlier than I would have wanted to, but hey, I guess it was a relatively small stop loss, and the spreads would eat into that. Maybe that was the reason why. But it took me out at break even, basically. So there we go. As far as FX trades, now that's started to become a lot more active now. I've got a partner involved because, it's difficult to run everything with one person. So get some help is always a good idea. So that is now going to be a bit more active, a lot more active. So it was 7 or 8 trades yesterday. They're not automatically connected to a trading account like my DAX trades are and my FTSE trades are. So they you can kind of filter the ones that suit your analysis and deal with the ones that you think would work out for you. Don't just automatically take every single FX trade, because it would likely put quite a lot of pressure on the margins on your account. So filter out the ones you want. Alright guys, that's me done. So have a nice weekend, enjoy the rest of your trading day for today. Don't trade during NFP, and make sure you always use a stop loss. Anyway guys, have a good one, take care, and we'll see you after the weekend.